Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our services, if we can please kindly turn off all cell phones or electronic devices, or please place them on silent. Thank you.
We are honored here today to pay tribute to the memory of Charlotte with the sacred words of the Al Malei Rachamim, which Cantor Horowitz from Sons of Israel, out of respect to the family and particularly to Charlotte, is here to chant with us. Please rise. You may be seated, please. Mizmor David Adonai Roi Lo Exar Beno Deshi Arbitzeni Hameminu Kotina Haleni Nafshi Shoveh Vancheni V'Magalei Tzedek L'man Shemo Gam Ki Elech B'Geit Salmavet Lo Irara Ki Ata Imadi Shibtecha Mishamtecha Hema Yenachamuni Ta'aroch Lefanai Shochan Neged Zorarai Dishanta V'Shem El Roshi Kosi Revaya Achto v'chesed yirtafuni ko yemei chayai v'shavti b'beit Adonai Orech Yamin. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He guides me on paths of righteousness, reviving my soul for the sake of his glory. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod do comfort me. You set a table in the sight of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall abide in the house of the Lord forever. The mysteries of life and death are beyond human understanding. We are perplexed when anguish befalls those whom we love. An Eshet Chayil, a woman of true valor, has been taken from our midst. Family and friends gather to pay tribute to Charlotte's memory. We pray, dear God, that you guard her family, protect her loved ones, treat them with love and compassion, grant them solace for their burden and sorrow. May their lives together help to sustain them and add to the blessing which is theirs in the memory of their beautiful sister, mother, Bubby, grandbubby. In the valley of the shadow of death, beside those still waters and in green pastures, you, O Lord, are our shepherd. Be our strength and our shield, our stay and our comfort throughout all our days. And let us say together, Amen. Good people, it is with heavy hearts that we come to pay tribute to the memory of Charlotte Weiss, a woman of grace, dignity, honor, a woman of rare beauty, inside and out. It seems only fitting that we are here today on the 26th day of the month of Nisan, for tonight we will start Holocaust Memorial Day. Every year for the past 25 that I have been in our community, and likely far more than that, Charlotte and her family walk down the center aisle at our Yom HaShoah commemoration. And while it is true that she has been to all of them, the name that I just gave to the commemoration is not entirely accurate, and the lack of using the proper name actually does a disservice to you and to your sister, Charlotte. We say Yom HaShoah, but it's truly only part of the name, an abbreviation. For what it is actually called is Yom HaShoah v'HaGevurah, which means the day of Holocaust and heroism. And the full title changes everything. Because even though Charlotte would not have used that word to describe herself, her life was truly heroic. Her story is not simply one of survival. I'm not wild about the word survival or survivors. It's too passive. Charlotte did too much to make sure that her family thrived. Hers is a story of tenacity, courage, strength, resilience. It was more than just the will to live that got your mother through the war. It was the courage to begin each day with optimism and with hope, with a sense of personal mission. And in spite of all of the horrors that she witnessed, she managed to have a smile for everyone she met. She still raised a wonderful family. She never lost her faith in God or in the power of the Jewish people. And so today we come together to mourn Charlotte's loss, but at the same time to celebrate her life and to remember the lessons of her life that can teach us so very much. Her parents, Rivka and Yisrael, raised their children in Takova, Czechoslovakia. It was a loving home where peace was shattered by barbarians. Charlotte lost her mother, your mother, and her brother Tzvi, but miraculously she and her 4 sisters made it through hell and back. Helen, Shenya, as Charlotte was known, Lenka, Reisi, and Rachel, were all deported to Auschwitz together. And when I speak of Gvura, of heroism, I know of what I speak. Because Charlotte was truly heroic. Her little sister was hand-selected by Mengele to go to the gas chamber, separated from her sisters as they walked forward together, one pulled out of the line. And Charlotte pleaded with Mengele to spare her sister's life. And he hatefully said to her, well, then you can go with her too. And the two of them went to the gas chambers. And Charlotte then pleaded there at the crematoria to spare her sister. And just then, a woman whose daughter had just been murdered said, no, I have to be with my daughter. Take me instead. And they pushed Charlotte and her sister out of line. And the two of them walked away from the crematorium as that woman perished. Can you imagine the unspeakable horrors that these sisters witnessed? I can't. And for 10 long months, sisters were held prisoners in Auschwitz, only then to be moved to a Nazi labor camp. Finally, they were put on a train, headed for extermination. And miraculously, American soldiers commandeered the train, released the captives, including all 5 sisters. Charlotte could remember kissing the feet of the soldiers who liberated her. But it was the power of that sisterly love that gave you all courage, that gave you the strength to persevere, to move forward together. Like cords on a thick rope tied together, that was you and your sisters, an unbreakable bond. Stronger even than the war itself. And the 13 grandchildren from you 5 sisters are a living testament to the power of your spirit. After the DP camps, Charlotte returned to her town. Her home was gone, but her future stood before her. Isaac had lost his wife and 3 children in the war, but he was determined to start over, and your mother was the one. So he gave Charlotte a ring that he had found. Obviously, someone had taken from them. They spent November of 1947 in love and ultimately under the chuppah. Then 2 years followed, waiting for a visa to America, but with the help of family in Baltimore, they finally came to the U.S., and from that day on, one of Charlotte's favorite songs was God Bless America, for very obvious reasons. And not that life was easy by any stretch of the imagination. Near penniless, they found themselves ultimately in Camden, living above the grocery store that Charlotte and Isaac labored in day and night. But they did have a future. They did have something to live for, to work for. And that was the 3 of you, Renee, Flo, Judy. The 3 of you mirrored the bonds of sisterly love that you saw in your aunts and your mother as well. And what you have is that kind of unbreakable bond between you. And I know that each of you will speak from your own hearts in just a moment, but the love, respect, and admiration that you had for your mother and for each other is palpable. Your mother only wanted the best for each of you. She wanted you to be strong, educated, independent women, and you are. You've never, ever disappointed her. Your mother could be demanding, but she was very, very proud. And she was especially proud of the fact that you honored her each and every day of her life, and she felt that. Of course, in time, she came to know the joy of a bigger family, Fred and Bob and Warren, and you were like sons to Charlotte. She had 3 doctors who looked after her head to toe, 24/7. Nothing was too much. Patiently, lovingly, each of you as her sons were there. Not only did she see the joy that you brought to her daughters, but you brought great joy to her life as well. And of course, in time came her beautiful, wonderful grandchildren, Danielle and Jesse, Tara and Lauren, and Carly and Samantha. And we're going to hear from the grandchildren in a bit, but each of you has a treasure trove of memories shared with your Bubby, who was always there. Her stories, her songs, the fabulous food she prepared for you, with you, with great love. She helped to make you into the people you are today. And with Steve and Franklin came grandsons, and blessed as she was in old age, Charlotte even came to be a G-Bubby to Zachary and Ryan, Libby and Jake and Juliana. Being surrounded by her family, as you all well know, made Charlotte supremely happy. And I don't think there was anything in life that brought her more joy than showing you off. Charlotte Weiss loved looking good. She loved being with her family. Anytime you saw her, she looked beautiful. No matter where she was, your sister was radiant. Whether it was out of the building or when serving as the mayor of Lionsgate, she always looked her best. She always had a smile on her face and a kind word on her tongue. She was the kind of person who engaged you when she spoke. She listened attentively, and that made you know that you were understood and drew you in closer. She was stunningly beautiful, but really her true beauty was on the inside. She carried herself with dignity, as I said, and with great honor. And of course, one of the main reasons why she could do that throughout her long life was because of the love that you shared with your mother, to make sure that she had the kind of life that she deserved, to be able to return in some small measure countless acts of kindness that she bestowed on each of you. And over the last 3 years or so, Tari helped immeasurably. Thank you. But in the end, when her time to pass from this world approached, you surrounded her with love, with warmth, and with song. My Yiddish Mama was sung as tender tribute along with other songs that made her heart sing. And so it was, surrounded by all of you with a song in her heart. She stepped from this world into the next to be reunited with the family who came before her, and she is. Her neshama is with them, and at the same time with all of you, for all that you have shared, the depth of love that your mother and your beautiful sister shared with you. Nothing can ever take her beautiful soul from each of yours. She is a lasting testament to strength, to resilience, to courage, and to inner beauty. May Charlotte's memory continue to be a source of guidance to all that knew and loved her forever. Tehei Nishmat Tzur Mitzvah Chaim. May her soul thus be bound in the bond of eternal life. Together we say. Well, you're going to start.
My mother's death was the most beautiful passing I have ever known. As she lay in her bed in her own home during what were her final hours, she was surrounded by all of her daughters, her grandchildren, and all of her sons-in-law, in addition to Mom's unparalleled caregiver, Terry, and her dear friend, Lee. 16 of us in all. Mom had always had a great fondness of music, and she sang Yiddish, Hebrew, and English songs to my sisters and to me throughout our childhood. Sometimes there was even her rendition of God Bless America. But unlike Kate Smith's version, It had a distinct European accent. As a family, Mom's final hours gave us a meaningful opportunity to sing to her the same songs which she had taught us during the years of our upbringing, and songs which she had shared with her grandchildren and great-grandchildren as well. Collectively, as we arranged ourselves around Mom's bed, we sang all of Mom's favorite tunes. We had no doubt that she was able to hear us, and we were certain that this brought her great joy and comfort until her final breath of life. This transition could not have been staged more perfectly, as her ultimate joy in life was the presence of family, a value which she had greatly perpetuated among her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren. This was one of our final gifts to Mom at this critical time in her life. The survival of her Holocaust experience and the tremendous atrocities that she overcame did not result in feelings of bitterness or a lack of faith in the world around her, which you might expect after such a traumatic occurrence. Conversely, my mother emerged with monumental courage and a conviction to prevail and to succeed, which she attributed to her unwavering faith in Judaism and to her spirituality. She came to expect of her daughters a commitment to Jewish custom and to honor and to uphold the traditions of our faith. We also learned that we were to excel at everything. In terms of higher education, in terms of our display of character, and in terms of performing mitzvot, or good deeds. We learned the joy of giving and doing for others. We learned the satisfaction derived from having a generous heart and from giving to those who were less fortunate. Mom was known as somewhat of a fashionista in her day. Of critical importance before displaying yourself to the world was the way you looked. Mom would spend much time pitzing or primping herself prior to every outing. As Mom aged, she never surrendered this value. When her eyesight was no longer sharp, she still insisted upon the proper eyebrow pencil, even if she had drawn the eyebrows an inch above where they should have been in her forehead. She expected us to share this value. Even a quick run to the local store might result in her remarking to us, "So why didn't you wear something nicer?" Mom loved babies and children. When planning to take Mom for a trip to the grocery store, one had to anticipate an allotment of about an hour of extra time, tacked on to the usual time required to shop. A baby carriage sighting in any store acted like a high-powered magnet which served to draw Mom in with the force of a tsunami. Making goo-goo eyes and cooing to the baby required sufficient time, regardless of whether or not the mother of that baby was in a rush to leave the store, and regardless of whether or not this baby encounter was blocking others from passing by in the store aisle. My sisters and I learned that babies and children are the most precious commodity of humankind, and that a loved child results in the likelihood of a well-adjusted adult. For all the love you have given to me, my precious mother, and for all that you have taught me, I am eternally grateful. at this most significant time during which we are all present to honor you and to celebrate your life, I am compelled to share with you a thought expressed at a recent funeral which I attended of a friend's mother. You have taught me so many things, Mother, but the one thing you didn't teach me was how to live without you. I will move forward from this day and continue to live my life by your example, and to keep foremost in my memory your unwavering love, your strength, and your faith, which will serve to remind me that you are with me always. I love you, Mom.
Judy, please.
As anyone who was fortunate enough to know my mother would know, Yiddish was her first language. My sisters and I would often try to speak to her in Yiddish or leave lengthy messages on her answering machine in what we thought was perfect Yiddish. It was not. She would call us back laughing hysterically at our broken and tongue-tied messages. It really made her smile. So, for my last and final message to my beautiful mom, I thought I would attempt this in Yiddish. For those of you that don't understand, I apologize, please indulge me. For those of you that do understand, forgive me. Entschuldigt mir für mein zerbrochene Yiddish. Mein scheine, teure Mama, ich kann nicht glauben, was du bist von mir weg. Das gewesen die beste Mama in der ganzen Welt. Und ich hab dich so viel lieb. Ich denk schon noch dir. Ich will allemal denken noch dir. Dass mir gewissen, wieso ich zusammen mit der Mama zu meinen Kindern, wie die es gewesen zu mir. Das hat ein großes Herz. Und in so alles gewesen gewünscht dir zu haben. Ich hoffe, als das nicht mehr kann weiter, und als wir kommen noch einmal zusammen, mit deiner teuren Mama und Brüder, du es gewesen, genommen von dir in der Holocaust. Pass auf noch ins. Ich weiß, dass du geist überhieten alle von deiner Familie, du denkt hat noch dir so viel. Ich danke dir für alles, was du hast mir getan und gelernt. Ich will allemal dies nehmen mit mir in Herz für mein ganzes Leben. Wenn die Zeit kommt, wir zusammenkommen noch einmal. Bis damals, vergiss nicht, wie viel ich denke noch dir und hab dich so viel lieb mit meinem ganzen Neshama.
Thank you, Judy. That was beautiful. Renee, please.
I feel my mother's heart inside of me. We all felt her pulse as it waxed and waned during these past few days. We watched her precious chest move up and down until her body gently and slowly went quiet. While I can't believe yet that she is physically gone from me, her voice is still inside my head, affecting my thoughts, my decisions, my moods, and my actions. So much of who I am, what I know, who I will become, came through her. She even taught us how to die with grace and dignity. These wondrous gifts will continue until my last breath. As I think of her, I feel her energy still, I feel her goodness. I feel her love. I was her firstborn. She carried me inside of her across the Atlantic, past Ellis Island, to raise me in a free country, rich with all of the possibilities that she never had. We all carried her hopes, dreams, and expectations, and tried endlessly to make up for the losses in her own life, with successes in ours. She was so good, so beautiful, so kind, so sweet. For her, giving was a way of life. It did not really mean sacrifice of herself. She found so much joy in giving that it ultimately fed her being. I really wanted to be like that. I wanted everyone to be like that. For it went way beyond the execution of an obligatory mitzvah. She lived as if God was watching her every move. And in honoring his wishes, she honored others, and ultimately herself. But all this talk of love and giving might make one think she was anything but fierce. But fierce as a lion she was. Powerful, determined, undeterred, and unflappable. She cherished her family and her Judaism and watched out for the fury that arose if either one of her children or her religion was ever challenged. Her belief in God and religious practice was uncompromising, strong, and invincible. No one sparkled the way my mom did. Few could light up a room like she did. When she greeted a friend or a relative or just an acquaintance, she would hold their hand in hers, look deep into their eyes, and smile her contagious smile, and you were completely captured for a moment and bathed in her positive energy. When she greeted those who knew and loved her, there was a spiritual transference that felt both surreal and uplifting. I don't know how to live without her. She was my best friend, my avid, devoted, and unflinching support. But I have the faith that she taught me to feel, the faith that she will guide me, her words in my ear, her hand in my hand, and her heart inside of mine.
Now I'm going to call on Charlotte's sister Rosalie, please.
My name is Rosalie, and I'm the sister of Charlotte. Since this is around Holocaust Memorial Day, I would like to say a few words about my sister Charlotte's bravery during those dark times in our lives. Thinking back all through the years, we were very close, and she was there for me in the best and the worst of times. It is now 75 years later since we were incarcerated in Auschwitz. On many occasions, Charlotte saved me from death. One particular day, during one of the selections, will remain with me forever. We were getting ready to be shipped to Germany for hard labor. Dr. Joseph Mengele showed up. He was the Auschwitz doctor, and he decided who is fit for labor and who should stay behind. Those who stayed behind were sent to the gas chamber. He ordered us to get undressed and line up for the selections. My 4 sisters passed, including Charlotte, But I was a small and skinny 12-year-old, and I was eliminated as not being fit for hard labor, and therefore I was of no use to the Nazis. My verdict was death in the gas chamber. Charlotte had the courage to approach Dr. Mengele and pleaded with him to let me live. This could have been a death sentence for her as well, just for daring to talk to him. He simply refused and told her she can join me, which meant death for both of us. My 19-year-old sister Charlotte did not give up. She was determined to save me. Somehow she smuggled me out of line, risking her own life to save mine. Because of her unselfish deed and courage, I'm here today. She saved my life. She is my heroine, a woman of valor, in every sense of the word. Her kindness and love she shared with others around her, and what she did for me will never be forgotten. I will always remember her with gratitude and love in my heart. Rest in peace, my dear sister.
Thank you. And finally, we'll call on the grandchildren.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here with us today to celebrate our grandmother's life. I'm Tara, Flo's daughter, and this is my sister Lauren, Judy's daughters, Samantha and Carly, and Renee's children, Danielle and Jesse, are behind me. The six of us have been very blessed as cousins. We grew up all living close to each other and spending every holiday and every special occasion together with our Bubby. Throughout our childhood and even into our adult lives, our Bubby was at every one of these events. While her passing is sad and has certainly affected each of us deeply, something so incredibly special has come out of the tragedy of her passing. Due to living on two different coasts and hectic work schedules and everyone's everyday life, it has been quite a long time since the six of us have actually had a chance to be together. But incredibly, all of us were here in town when it was time for us to say goodbye to our Bubby. These past few days have been some of the best moments that all of us have shared. The six grandchildren have cried together, laughed together, shared meals together, and spent countless hours relating our fondest memories and our funniest stories of our Bubby. These memories made us all smile and have brought us such joy during a time of such sadness. We thought we would share just a few of these funny times and our most memorable anecdotes with all of you, so that you too may remember our grandmother with a smile and perhaps even with a little laugh, because we know that that's the way she would want it.
An important part of the grandchildren's relationship with Bubby was a mutual love of food, and this of course was Bubby's food. Anyone who knew Bubby knew that her cooking skills were top-notch. The cousins like to joke about Bubby having her very own cooking show on the Food Network called First You Fry an Onion. Everything began with that special first ingredient, a fried onion. Kreplach, kugel, chicken soup, kropretzlach, I hope I said that okay, chicken with dippy sauce, meatballs, and so much more. Bubby was a star in the kitchen. Making and serving food was one of the many ways in which Bubby displayed her love for her family. One of my favorite food-related traditions was the Thanksgiving prep day each year. On the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, Bubby would come over with my mom and, of course, with Terry. Ready on the counter for Bubby's prep day arrival were a number of things: the turkeys, the turkey breasts, roasting pans, an array of spices, oil, cooking utensils, stuffing ingredients, and anything else that Bubby may have needed to do her magic in the kitchen. Then the magic began. The radiant and refined Bubby instantly transformed into mad scientist Bubby. Spices were flying, turkey juices were squirting, margarine was oozing, klezmer music was blaring, and Bubby, admiring a perfectly seasoned turkey breast, joyfully said, "Such a beautiful breast, what a beautiful breast," every year. Another food-related memory that we have is eating apples in Bubby's kitchen. Yes, apples, pretty simple. If we didn't want to eat an apple, even if we didn't want to eat an apple, if Bubby offered us an apple, we'd always say yes. And the reason was this: Bubby was the ultimate apple peeler. For us, watching Bubby peel an apple was the equivalent of watching an extreme sport. I'm not joking. Bubby didn't just peel an apple like the rest of us. Instead, she had the rare ability to mesmerize her young grandchildren by removing the peel in one and just one continuous spiral shape. As she slowly worked her knife around the apple, we watched in anticipation. "Bubby, do you think it will be one piece? Will it come off in just one piece?" And usually it did. So she handed us the peeled apple and the one continuous spiralized apple peel, both pieces. And we ate the peeled apple, and we ate the apple peel. And for some reason, it just tasted so much better in these separate parts, crafted just for us by our Bubby. Thank you.
Our Bubby was always so proud of us, but as you've heard, she had very high standards for all of us and expected her version of the best from each of us. And sometimes her version of the best was a little bit misguided or old-fashioned. One example I remember well was the day I got into veterinary school. I had worked hard throughout school and college to reach this milestone. I was so excited to share the news with my precious Bubby. I excitedly called her within hours of receiving the news and I said, "Bubby, I got into Penn Vet, my first choice." Bubby was overwhelmed with joy and nachas, or pride. She said, "Shepsy," a sweet pet name she used for all of us. "Shepsy, I'm so proud of you, my brilliant girl." And then the real kicker. "Shepsy, I'm so proud of you, but do you think you should become a real doctor?" Well, of course, this stung the tiniest bit, because pleasing my Bubby has always been super important to me. I know she was supremely proud of me, as she was of all of us. And now, after introducing myself to my furry patients as Dr. Cantor, I find myself calling my most favorite patients Shepsy. It's a little old-fashioned, I know, but it means I have my Bubby with me every day.
Looking back at Bubby's long, beautiful life, I find the distant childhood memories continue to bubble up to the surface. Our earliest memories as cousins started in her Cherry Hill house, 24 Glen Lane. It's where we first heard the stories of our ancestors, learned about hardship, love, and family. The common thread was how be a mensch, someone of integrity and honor, or in her words, a good Jewish boy, as it related to me. These values of goodness were instilled in us from our earliest memories. When walking through Bubby's front door, be it 1989 or 2019, one thing never seemed to change. The way she'd take each of your hands, hold them tight, and look into your eyes with this massive, really white smile. She looked at us with such intense pride, gratitude, and love. As the time froze, nothing else mattered. In that very moment was the only thing she needed in life. I have such fond memories of spending time with Bub and family in her home, coming over to cook, playing cards, learning how to make kumentashen, building sukkahs in her backyard, or just stopping by for a game of Rummy Cube, frozen decaf coffee, and Wheel of Fortune blaring in the background. At times, Bubba could be quite serious. It was her prerogative to teach us, her grandchildren, life lessons and values that were important to her, the ones she's picked up over the years. In time, they became important to us, a part of us. All she wanted was to raise a family of good people that remained closely knit as a Jewish family, and that she has. But other times, Bubby really knew how to let loose and enjoy the lightness of the present, dancing around the kitchen to klezmer music, singing some very old songs with the most intensive vibratos. I'm not going to try to recreate that. Or maybe sitting back and taking in the story from one of us, her grandchildren. Her energy was captivating and bright. But there's one thing Bubby had a bit too much fun with. I can only say on behalf of myself, but beating us all in Rummy Cube, one of her favorite games. Or Rummy is a card game. You couldn't beat her. It just wasn't fair. Somehow she is up in heaven with almost a perfect winning record. You know, she ended up with at least 3 or 4 jokers in every single hand, every time, reliably. And it makes you wonder. I'm pretty sure she had tricked tucked up her sleeve. There's just no way that one could be that good, but Bubby was that good.
I'm Danny. I think about Bubby, we were talking about all these stories. When I told my cousins was a few weeks ago, I called Bubby and I said, Bub, I'm going to take you to shul on Saturday. And she went, oh, to shul? I said, yeah, I'm going to take you to shul. What do you think? I'll pick you up. And after a bit of a delay, she said, well, what are you going to wear? So in telling that story, I was assigned sort of to talk about her fashion. The irony shouldn't be lost on anyone here tonight. We're talking about fashion and what fashion means. What it means. Is it life? Is it rebellion? Is it expression? People have talked about how Bubby was always dressed, and her lipstick. This way she put her lipstick on was comprehensive, and it reflected in the tubes, and we all have talked about that over time. But when I think about fashionista, fashion, Bubby, besides the white blouses and the cardigans and the jewelry and maybe the initial lover of shiny, sparkly things, and always being put together, always concerned until her last, she was always concerned with how she looks, and bless you, Terry, for taking so much care of that. Because when I think about fashion and what it was to Bubby, I believe, for me at least, that it was dignity. And there's been a lot of talk about her as dignity. I think at the age that she was taken and her clothes taken, the dignity that was taken from her somehow got wrapped up in clothes and fashion. And it wasn't about what you wear, how you look, who you're wearing. It was presenting yourself with the most dignity that you can put out there. Because when our dignity is taken from us, who are we? So we all view fashion differently, and we all choose to express, to rebel, to live with it, through it. But I think what Bubby was telling us when she wanted to make sure we all were dressed the way we were dressed was that she wanted us to be dignified people, to walk in dignity, to live in dignity as she did, and as she passed in dignity with all of us in her home peacefully. So I don't take from her that my shoulders always need to be covered and my knees, and I should have a skirt and all of those things. or that I should always have jewels and makeup and all of that, but that I should live my life in a dignified way and put forth the best of me, because if it's ever taken, I don't have any. So, Bobby, Bobby, thank you. Thank you for teaching me about dignity. And I will work on it. I'm still tired. Fine.
Well, there's countless comical memories of our Bubby that bring a smile to all of our faces. What we will also carry on is the characteristics she instilled in all of us and that my cousins have spoken so beautifully about today. The one thing we feel mattered the most to our Bubby was her sense of family and the importance of togetherness. And as we stand up here with our arms around each other, I can't help but think of all the holidays and special occasions together and how they were everything to her. Bubby's face would beam with pride, a smile ear to ear, having her 3 girls, 6 grandkids, and 5 great-grandchildren surrounding her, just as we all are today. We all grew up at 24 Glen Lane with Bubby and Zaidi, learning life lessons as young children that we never realized until times like this that bring us all together. Lessons we now pass on to our children and will continue from generation to generation, l'dor b'dor. So, Bubby, the matriarch, the glue, the bond of our family, we love you forever. You will be in our hearts always, and we promise to continue what you have instilled in each one of us: strength, perseverance, dignity, tradition, and of course, family. May you continue to rest peacefully and always watch over us. We love you, our Bubby, forever and always. Achov diachlib.
Thank all of those who shared so lovingly of their hearts. We'll have the opportunity to share more reminiscence and to comfort our beloved family after the interment takes place at Crescent Cemetery. The family will return to Chase Home in Collingswood. Please rise now for the memorial. Now, Malay Rachamim Shochem Bamaromim Hamatzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Ashkina B'Malos Kadoshim V'Torim Gazor Rakia Masirim Ed Nishmat Shenya Mariam Bat Yisrael V'Rivka She'alcha L'Olama Began Eden Tehim Menucha Ta'ana Ba'al Rachamim Astereha B'Seiter Konfecha L'Olamim U'Tzur Tzrecha Nishmata Adonai V'Nachlata V'Tenuach B'Shalom Yishkava V'Nomar Amen. O God, exalted and full of compassion, we pray that you grant perfect peace under the wings of your perfect presence. To the beautiful soul of Charlotte Weiss, who has gone to her eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy, righteous, loving acts of kindness she shared with all of us as she graced this, the land of the living. May her soul thus be bound in the bond of eternal life. May her memory be a blessing in our hearts and our homes forever. Together we say, Amen. You may be seated, please.
let's give the rise once more, please.
מכתב ישות צהריים בכל מצוות הרחבה ומנחלה ויגש. רק נחתה בהתנשור נשים תראה כי אתה נעשיר יוצאת ונחלו תרדה אליך רעה ונגע לא יקרא בו לך כי מלאך מצווה לך לשמרך בכל רכיך. הכפיים יסעוך כן בגופך רגליך על שחר ותטוב תרוס כי בי שחר תיוס כבן פינה שני קוראים ולא כתתורה Akapselo ki korek mespero areo bishulati ora areo
Ladies and gentlemen, the last of the party begins.